Okay, what is up, party people out there? It's officially 3:42 in the morning, and I'm doing this live stream. This is the second live stream I've ever done, so please bear with me. If there's noise in the background, other things, etc., just please bear with me. So, right now I'm bringing you a review of Wreck-It Ralph, or at least the second movie for Wreck-It Ralph. I believe the title, as you might see right now, is Ralph Breaks the Internet movie review, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not reviewing the movie at a whole or as such. I'm just noting a few things about it, and the reason why I'm doing a live stream is because it would take way too long. Right now, it's going to take way too long for me to do a video and get it the way I want it to, and that's not what I'm. That's not what I'm about right now. So please bear with me as I get my notes in order. They're here, but let's see what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go on to my channel right now. I'm gonna switch accounts, and I'm gonna watch. Let me think. I'm gonna watch my own live stream to see if I've got everything in order. So bear with me. We'll get to it in a second. Let's see. You might hear some clicking. Every time I go searching for my own channel, it's like it's never there. Let's see. How do I go to channel? I'm so sorry. Oh shoot, running into technical difficulties, but once again bear with me because this is literally the second time I've ever done this. What am I looking? Okay, hold on 1 second. Be back in a second. There we go. Okay. Alright, so the echo's there. That's good. Alright, so with that done, let me first of all say this movie is terrible. If you loved the original Wreck-It Ralph, and I mean loved it, like it was really great, you like John C. Reilly and whatever, you're probably at the very least you're gonna dislike this film, or you're gonna have an experience where you're like, something was missing from this film. Excuse me. But for me, this film was just absolutely terrible. Terrible because of how the narrative changed, how it shifted. It really betrayed the overall continuity of what we knew to be the universe of Wreck-It Ralph. So I'm going to give a quick little itemized list. This is just things off the top of my head. I wasn't able to record anything right after I had seen it in the theaters. So anyway, first one is, if you're going to go see this movie, play woke bingo. Have all of the woke points or woke categories, and that just might make the film a little bit more bearable, but probably not by a lot. So that was kind of the thing I started doing a good portion into the movie, and it takes so long for the movie to get going. So that's number one. Number two is, the movie is supposed to be about Ralph. Usually when we have characters in the title head, it's usually about that character. They're the main character of the story, but this was really a story that was built around Vanellope, the character played by Sarah Silverman, or voice acted by Sarah Silverman, which, by the way, let it be known, I do not like Sarah Silverman. I think she is the most mediocre of mediocre so-called comedians, and she's right up there with Amy Schumer, only she probably hid the fact that she stole a few jokes a little bit better than Amy Schumer. So this is like an encore of a terrible experience. I really don't like how Sarah Silverman, I don't like her humor because her humor is always denigrating the some or all of one demographic. And no matter what kind of comedian you are, if you have one kind of comedian that only tells a certain kind of jokes, he or she is gonna have an audience base, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're gonna have like an audience base where it appeals to the greater part of any given demographic, and I am not that demographic. So, movie was not about Ralph. Number 3, let's see. The movie moved way too fast. It was nuts. I couldn't keep up with how fast the plot was moving, and that's because since the story was built around bolstering the character of Vanellope and making let me think. Let me use my words. I'm sorry. It was basically, you were tricked into thinking it was about Ralph, and the whole movie was built upon transitioning the narrative to make it all about Vanellope, right? So that sucked. So it had to get the audience to that point. So it was like, okay, we have a little bit of Ralph, a little bit of Ralph, a little bit of Ralph. Let's move people, and get to the part where it's all about Vanellope, where we establish that it's all about her. So yeah, so that's number 3. Let's see, what's number 4? Let's see. Sorry, I got my list. Okay, so there are so many confusing things in this entire movie. They threw out a premise or had characters execute actions that didn't make any sense, because you would naturally ask, does it work that way? How would it work that way? This is really nuts, right? So one of the things is, and once again, I'm sorry, I didn't say this before, but definitely spoilers. I might be saying spoilers periodically, so if, Lord willing, anybody joins in and starts watching, I'll be able to, they'll know. So if I see any more, like, there are 2 people, hey, thanks for that like, by the way, for all of you out there. If you want to just throw a comment down there, that would be really excellent, or something like that. But yeah, thanks for the like. Thanks for the two people who are watching this early in the morning. And just to let you know, it's Thanksgiving today. So if you happen to celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Turkey Day and all that good stuff. So anyway, as I've written it down, his internet fame, Dash, he's a real YouTuber. So in this sequence, when he starts to become internet famous, he starts doing all the YouTube stuff, the Ghost Pepper Challenge, that kind of stuff. And what didn't make sense is the fact that nobody knew who was making these videos and where they were uploading them from. So that's like problem 1 for that. Now, they had a throwaway line. They had some news feed of somebody who was like, of a news reporter who was like, oh, we don't know where these videos are coming from. I'm like, oh, all right, that kind of makes sense. But it was just a throwaway line to cover up that plot hole. So secondarily, it's like if I was a YouTube executive and I had to monitor videos and they were getting uploaded by this anonymous person, I would be like, okay, who created this YouTube account? Where are they actually located? I would try to contact that person. So the problem is this is a kid's show, but they interject a logic or a type of thinking that, naturally you go, wait, wouldn't it raises so many questions. Secondarily, let me get a second to get back to my point. I apologize. Okay, so that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, number 5 is, it is very clear what group of writers were on this because of what was subtly hinted at. One of the things that they try to hide when they get to the internet is BuzzFeed. There's a obvious BuzzFeed logo, but it says BuzzFood, but it's in the same, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the same coloring as as BuzzFeed. It looked just like the regular BuzzFeed logo, and I was thinking to myself, I know what you guys are trying to do. Nice one. Nice to try to get that bias. But for people who know, we know BuzzFeed is crap, and it was riddled with all kinds of BuzzFeed thoughts, and oh my goodness, it was just terrible. Once again, just terrible. So, next one. So, a quick synopsis about the plot is Ralph makes a new track with his own fist for Vanellope because she says that she's in a rut and she does the same thing over and over again. Which raised the question to me that, do game characters actually get bored? You think they would be, what's the word, acquainted or are literally coded for doing something repetitiously? You think it would have to happen theoretically billions and billions of times before they get bored? And that kind of segues into another thing that I actually didn't write down, but I'll say it right now, where when the guy who owns the arcade, when he walks in, all the arcade machines are on, and I'm thinking to myself, his electric bill must be through the damn roof. Doesn't he turn anything off at night? So I don't know how it works, but once again, it's sort of a thing that is interjected into the film that you see going on, that you'll naturally ask a smart or just basic question. All right, let's see. We have hit the 11-minute mark. I'm going to try to keep this tapered and try to keep it down to at least, 15 minutes. I know my voice is annoying. I'm really sorry for anybody listening out there, but thank you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Let's see. So, as I was saying, I apologize, getting back on track. Ralph basically built a new track for Vanellope, and as somebody's playing it, she goes onto the track, and then the steering wheel starts to move around of its own accord. Now, we saw demonstrated in the first Wreck-It Ralph film that it worked the opposite for the characters. Like when someone was trying to direct Felix wasn't moving of his own accord. But the reverse strangely seemed to happen, where as Vanellope's trying to drive on this new track, the wheel is turning itself, and the two girls that were sitting in the back, one of the girls who was playing the game was trying to forcibly move the steering wheel, which caused Vanellope to spin out, and then the steering wheel breaks as a result. Later on, when he's trying to find a replacement steering wheel, first of all, he was going to try to get an entirely new Sugar Rush game. And then he couldn't find a Sugar Rush game, and then he wanted to replace the steering wheel. The steering wheel was, well, for lack of a better term, it was pretty astronomical. It was like $200. So, excuse me, give me 1 second. Excuse me. So the steering wheel was $200, and I know I'm jumping around in the story a little bit, but I'm covering like the most stupidest things, because the stupidest things in this movie is what stuck with me the most. So they blah, 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 they do all this stuff, yada, 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 to get to the internet afterwards, right? To try to see if they can go on eBay and acquire the steering wheel. So when they get there are a few things that happen in between, of course, a few gags, but when they get there, some rando person on the internet is trying to buy a steering wheel for a video game that's not even made anymore, and that the owner of the arcade himself professed that are in such limited supply that he can't just order another one, that literally nobody has them, and the only thing that's left of this video game is that steering wheel. What rando person on eBay would be like, I'll just buy this steering wheel? Now, reasonably, you could try to reason that maybe somebody is just they need it to do some type of chop shop, or they need a steering wheel for something else. But the thing is that was never explained, and it was just fabricated peril. It was just such an asinine plot device. All right, so yeah, moving on. This is just a personal gripe. We've seen the part in the trailer where Vanellope goes into the room where all of the princesses hang out, the Disney princesses. And there's that scene where Snow White breaks her glass slipper, and she like holds it, against, she's threatening to cut a bitch. And in the part they don't show in the preview, of course, because if you see the movie, and well, by the way, don't go see this movie unless you're gonna play woke bingo, and just note all the parts that's gonna get you infuriated. If it's not for like science, yeah, if it's for science, sacrifice yourself, do it for science. But if you're not, then please do not see this movie. So Jasmine had the lamp. So it started off okay. What's her name? Cinderella breaks the slipper, threatening to cut her. I think the chick from Tangled had her trusty frying pan. Ha ha ha. If you've seen Tangled, you know about the frying pan. But Jasmine had the lamp. And I was just kind of like, once again, this is a nitpick. This is just a personal gripe. I thought to myself, isn't that Aladdin's? Jasmine isn't the diamond in the rough. She's got no business with that lamp, whether there's a genie in it or not. So, personal gripe. Moving on. Let's see. Another game. Oh, okay. So, we saw a lot more airtime for the character that plays the Surge Protector. So the Surge Protector was there as a character, and nobody had tripped him. It was kind of established in the Wreck-It Ralph film that he was sort of a customs agent, and he really only engaged any of the characters when someone tripped the Surge Protector, and he was just doing his due diligence. But he's walking around freely into other games. So when I saw that, I thought, isn't that a little weird? Like, we saw him as a stickler for the rules, but now he's gallivanting in other games. Now, I understand in the Wreck-It Ralph, like when they had to abandon the Sugar Rush game, he was kind of acting as some sort of liaison and trying to put all of the Sugar Rush characters in different places. But as I stopped and I thought about it, I was like, this just doesn't seem right. It seems so weird to me because that's just not how his character, was established, gallivanting in other games. Let's see. There's sort of an addendum on this one. Let's see. Let's see. It wasn't game. Oh, okay. So the next one is about the same thing. So I guess I'll spoil the ending here. So, if you're listening to this afterwards, and this is after I upload this, then just skip a little bit of ahead if you don't want to know the ending. And the ending, I'll count it out. Sorry, 3, 2, 1. So, in the ending of Wreck-It Ralph, Vanellope decides to go into a different race car kind of game. It's kind of like Twisted Metal meets Grand Theft Auto. I know there's probably a better example, but those are the only two that really pop to mind. So the reason why at the end of the end of the movie, I was like, she goes into a different game. Isn't this a little stupid? Because she could still die. If you die outside of your game, wouldn't other players get a little freaked out to see the Sugar Rush, the Sugar Rush character inside of a different game? Wouldn't people who run the game, because this is it's like Grand Theft Auto once again, so people play online they play online with this game in real time. So there would be people who would probably try to recode, they would try to reboot, they would try to shut it down. The administrators would be hot on that. So that goes with that. So it's like she could still have died. And the fact that she switches games at the end of the movie really spits in the eye of all that Ralph did he was gonna sacrifice himself. He thought he was gonna die. He thought he was gonna get erased, and he did that all for Vanellope. And now she's like, I'm bored, I'm gonna go into a different game now, see you when I see you. So wouldn't that get the Sugar Rush game shut down anyway? Because if there's defective code that has an absence of a player, wouldn't they shut it down? But on second thought, now that I think about it, maybe not. And the reasoning would be that King Candy wasn't a playable character. I mean, he was a playable character, but he wasn't he wasn't originally in the code, but he fit in though. When you think about it, he fit in because his name was King Candy in a game called Sugar Rush. So, make your peace with that. Juggle that, kick that ball around if you want to. I just think it's something to note. It's like, wow, you spit in this dude's face. You forced him to help you in the first one, and now you're bored, so you get to just like go, hey, screw all you did for me. What have you done for me lately? Let's see. The next one is really simple. It's just not enough good references and not enough game references. I think we had almost hit the 10-20 minute mark, and the only joke that landed for me was when they were in Tappers, that root beer arcade game, and Ralph says, "Oh, I know how to fix things. Oh, thank you for your advice." And he's leaving. He goes, drinks are on the house," and everybody yells in celebration. And then you hear "Show you, kid," and then you see Ken in the background. That actually made me laugh. And with Wreck-It Ralph, those kind of laughs for me and those awesome references were nonstop, and they were almost absent. We were totally bereft of good jokes in this movie. And alongside with that, this movie was a lot like the Emoji Movie. When I sat down and I tortured myself watching the Emoji Movie, I noticed that, how do I put it? All the physical humor, the physical jokes landed in the Emoji Movie, and there were very, very, very few of them. Now, the spoken jokes that you're supposed to laugh at because they ran it through the random joke machine and tried to come up with a formula to always make jokes to always get the audience to laugh on cue. There was a lot of that. So once again, to recap, this movie was a lot like a better done version of the Emoji Movie, or the Emoji Movie, but just in a different wrapper, which makes it all the more deplorable, I think. Alright, I think I'm going to do 2 or 3 more, and then I'm going to end the stream because we've definitely hit 20 minutes, and I don't want to subject you all out there to 20 more minutes of my incessant rambling. However, if you take anything from it, just please don't see this movie unless you're going to torture yourself, or you're a sadist, or you're going to play woke bingo. Okay, on to the next one. Not enough jokes, not enough references. Okay, so this is how do I explain this one? So we know the one chick from Empire on Hulu, who was also the mom in the Karate Kid movie, the reiteration of Karate Kid with Jackie Chan. She played the mom, so she plays this blue character that's supposed to be an algorithm. She's supposed to be the head algorithm. She's supposed to, know what's trendy and all that good stuff, right? So we have a person who's the head algorithm, and by this time, Wreck-It Ralph, because of a meme, he had like millions and millions of views, and he was getting like hundreds of thousands of likes. But when he was right in front of the head algorithm, she did not know who he was. And I was thinking to myself, do the writers know how internet works? Do the writers know how algorithms work? What am I watching? Okay, so the next one. So Gal Gadot was in the movie, and she was specifically in that Grand Theft Auto slash Twisted Metal game as a character named Shank. Now, I knew her voice from the very moment, and I was stricken with despair, because when I was listening to her voice and I was looking at her character, I'm like, oh no, this character is just gonna have plot armor a mile thick. She's gonna be infallible. She was basically like Rey from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. She really could do anything, and she literally had no faults. And all of her, the guys in her crew were just like kind of hippies. They were a little stupid. And that's another thing. All the guys in this movie are dumb. But specifically, was it Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph, and the efforts of trying to get the steering wheel, were trying to make money when they basically found out what money was. So some clickbait, hey, do you want to make money playing video games? They went to this skeezy guy played by Phil Hader. I really like Phil Hader, by the way. He's a really great guy. Anyway, he sends them out, or he gives them advice and say, basically, you can be loot hunters. You can go out, you can get go into different video games, and you can get money through acquiring rare items and selling it to them. They're like, well, we need like a really, really up there item. So what that was basically a race car in said video game. So when they go there and they go to get it, there's this little chase scene, all this fun, yada yada yada, whatever. But Gal Gadot's character and her crew catch up with Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope. And then they're saying, hey, we need this car for X, Y, and Z. And then she's like, oh, well, there's better ways to make money on the internet. And then she instigates a situation, and she basically turns Ralph into a meme. So that's how we have him where he's a meme, and then he goes to see the head algorithm. So not only does she have the aqua de vida, the water of life, she being a regular game character, it doesn't matter how popular, knows how to create award-winning memes that are going to bring you lots and lots of moolah. Not only that, she knows the head algorithm. How, I ask you? How? Why? So it was just another example of them wanting to advance the plot, and they wanted a specific character to advance the plot, but at the sake of basic human reasoning that a person with a fully functional brain, or even a Down syndrome brain, would have, for that matter. It was just asinine as the day is long. So the message there was like, at that point it became loud and clear. The message is, what am I trying to say? The message is, women can do anything. All right, on to the next one. Let's see what we got. This is going to be the last one, guys. So when they got the money, this is skipping way forward. When they got the money for the steering wheel, I was wondering to myself, like, where is the money being held? Like, we saw no follow-up scene dictating that Ralph had a bank account, or that anybody had a bank account. So it's like, oh, you've got the money. Where is it being held? Like, digitally, the money digitally has to be stored. The algorithm, the numbers, all of that good stuff has to be stored somewhere. The film didn't address it. It just worked because it worked. So we have hit the 28-minute mark, people, and I thank you for anybody, all the people that stuck with me thus far, which is 0, but hey, man, I'm still building the channel, and I thank everybody out there who stuck with me until they decided to skedaddle or click on a different video. I thank you for your patronage for however long, and I will see you guys in the next one. Epiphanies, aka Funny McTow, is out.